Proud Boys leader complains about jail conditions and wants early release. Complaining about jail conditions, a top leader of the Proud Boys far extremist group asked a judge on Monday to free him before he finishes serving a 5-month sentence for burning a Black Lives Matter banner taken from a historic black church in Washington, D.C. 5 months. Oh my God, he can't handle 5 months. Welcome to Radio Labio's English program, where I share the most interesting notes of the day that you may not have had time to catch up on. I'm Juan Andres. I podcast in English and Spanish to ensure that all Latinos can have access to our programs, regardless of what language they speak. Thanks for tuning in. D.C. Superior Court Judge Jonathan Pittman said Monday that he would rule by the end of the week on whether to reduce Proud Boys chairman Henry Enrique Tarrio's sentence to 90 days instead of the 5 months. But the judge struck a consistently skeptical tone that left Mr. Tarrio testifying by video from jail, visibly slumped in frustration. This is so funny. This is so funny. You know, these guys presented themselves during the Trump administration as being like, oh man, we're talking, these are like wrestlers. They walk into the ring and they'll throw you on the floor and beat you up. And oh my goodness. Tarrio asked that his sentence be reduced or that he be allowed to finish it under house arrest because he claims he has been harassed by correctional officers and exposed to inhumane jail conditions. He said his cell has regularly flooded with dirty toilet water from a neighboring cell. Oh boy. Oh boy. I've been to jail before, he said, and what I've seen here, I've never seen anywhere else, Tarrio said, wearing an orange jumpsuit and a mask over his face. This place needs to be shut down immediately. He detailed abusive guards, constantly flooded cells, smoke-filled hallways, and medical neglect, saying he witnessed a prisoner have a seizure who lay there for half an hour before any help arrived. Well, that I agree with him. I mean, that whoever it was, he should have been attended immediately. His voice crackling, Tarrio said, I'm deathly afraid that something is going to happen to me. I imagine that's how you crackle a voice. I don't know. But remember, these are the gentlemen, I'm using the term loosely, please forgive me, that helped the insurrection on January 6th. They were smashing windows, they were beating up policemen, and now their leader is complaining that he's being harassed. The policemen on January 6th, some died, some got beaten, scores of them were injured. And this guy's complaining because of a little flooding from toilet water from the cell next door. Give me a break. I'm looking at a picture of Mr. Tarrio before he went to jail. And I love his cap. You know how the MAGA people wear the red cap with MAGA? Well, the Proud Boys have a cap. And this particular cap is pretty cool. It's black with gold yellow lettering that instead of saying the Proud Boys, it says the War Boys, W-A-R, like in war, like an insurrection. The War Boys. And he's smoking a cigarette. He's got these big aviator glasses. He's got a bulletproof vest on, and he's got his polo, his Proud Boys polo on, the black polo with the gold on the neck. I mean, it's nice, and he's got something on his I don't know what it is. It looks like a special watch, or maybe it's a compass. It's so he'll know whether he's walking north or south, or whether they're attacking from the east, west, or who knows what that's for. But anyway, here he is, and I'm explaining this to you because this is a guy who's wearing a cap that says the War Boys. In other words, they are the guys that want to declare war. You don't wear the War Boys cap unless that's a pretty strong word, right? And now you're complaining that the toilets are flooding in the cell next door, and the dirty water is coming over to your cell, and that's cruel. So you need to have you want house arrest. The D.C. Department of Corrections did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but attorneys for the government acknowledged some problems with the jail conditions, saying they were being addressed. The flooding, they said, came from a prisoner in a neighboring cell who regularly flooded his own toilet in protest, and said Tario had since been moved to another cell so his feces won't get wet. They denied Tario had been mistreated, and they signaled out or denied his rights in any way. They didn't single him out, and they didn't deny him any rights. Tario's complaints about jail conditions in Washington mirror those of several prisoners charged in the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. Conditions at the D.C. Central Jail have long been a point of criticism for local activists. The issue has taken on a national political dimension in recent months because of the January 6th defendants. Now, people have been going to the D.C. jail this has been going on for as long as I can remember. Toilet water and wet little feetsies and tough guards, and people have been going in and out, and some of them for a year, 6 months, whatever length of time, and they take the heat, and then they move on. They come out and they were guilty. Suck it up. It's only 5 months or 6 months. It's not the end of the world. So what really baffles me is that the Proud Boys have this reputation of being almost like superheroes. I mean, you expect them to put on a cloak and jump off the roof and fly. Superman, super Proud Boys. And yet, and the same thing with the January 6th insurrectionists. They're all bitching about the jail in Washington. They don't like toilet water. Oh, yeah. In October, a federal judge held the District of Columbia's corrections director and jail warden in contempt of court and asked the Justice Department to investigate whether inmates' civil rights were being abused. The district and the U.S. Marshals Service struck a deal last week to improve jail conditions. Pittman on Monday took the jail's damaged reputation as proof that Tario wasn't being singled out for mistreatment. In other words, everybody's walking on toilet water and getting a little feetsies wet, and everybody's treated the same. Tario isn't being singled out. He's just not used to it. It's obviously distressing to hear of these conditions, he said. I come back to the same question. How is Mr. Tario's condition any different than any other inmate in the jail, and why is he going to be cut a deal when he's wearing a cap that says the War Boys or whatever it says? Mr. Tario's condition is not different. Tario claims he's endured serious abuses of his rights on a daily basis while being held in a segregation unit. Jail employees have ignored his request for medical treatment and they've thrown them out as cold and not important, often inedible meals, he says, into his cell. Cold, inedible meals, and denied him access to running water in his cell. Mr. Theriault has been intimidated and antagonized by correctional staff to dissuade him from making complaints about the horrendous condition, wrote Theriault's attorney. Roughly 36 Proud Boy leaders, members, and associates have been charged in the Capitol riot. Some of them are charged with conspiring to carry out a coordinated attack on the Capitol to stop Congress from certifying President Joe Biden's electoral victory. But my feetsies are getting wet on toilet water. Theriault wasn't at all at the Capitol on January 6th and hasn't been charged in connection with the riot. He was arrested in Washington on a warrant 2 days before the siege and ordered to stay out of the nation's capital. Theriault pleaded guilty to destruction of property and attempted possession of a large capacity of ammunition, feeding devices. Police said officers found 2 unloaded firearm magazines emblazoned with the Proud Boys logo in Theriault's bag when they arrested him on January 4th. Proud Boys members frequently brawl with anti-fascist activists at rallies and protests, with allies like longtime Trump backer Roger Stone. The group of self-described Western chauvinists emerged from far-right fringes and entered mainstream GOP Republican circles during the former President Donald Trump's administration. Several January 6 defenders have filed suits about the D.C. jail facility. They're getting their feetsies wet on toilet water. U.S. Marshals Service inspection last month, which found systemic abuse and unsanitary conditions at the jail. Oh my God. A federal judge later found both the jail's warden and the director of the corrections department in contempt of court. The U.S. District Judge Royce Lambert had summoned the jail officials to court in the case of Christopher Worrell, a member of the Proud Boys who had been charged on the January 6th attack and who was delayed medical care for a broken wrist. The Justice Department announced plans to transfer 400 federal prisoners from a total population of 1,500 to another facility in Pennsylvania where they won't get their feetsies wet in toilet water. However, Theriault and the January 6 defendants were not set to be part of that transfer. No. So more feetsies wet in toilet water. Theriault on Monday cited the federal prisoner transfer as proof that the D.C. jail was simply unfit to continue operating, in his opinion. Theriault is going to close the jail down. If he was a warden, he would close the jail down because he doesn't want anybody getting their feetsies wet in toilet water. He told the judge, they don't move 400 prisoners for nothing, and they're not moving me. Why? You guess why. Oh my goodness. I haven't had a good laugh in a long time. This one is funny. I'm Juan Andres. You can find us on more than 60 sites on the internet where you can listen to our podcast. Just ask Google Radio Labio and bingo, will show up. On my behalf, as well as my colleague Yvonne Encinas and our manager and fellow on-air personality, Francisco Maldonado, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.